Right. Tie a deer hair tom tonight. Start off with a size 10 dry fly hook, size 8, size 12, whatever you feel comfortable with. It's a pretty good size dry fly, so I usually use a 10. Works good on bluegills. Go to a size 8 if you're going to try and mimic a cicada. But start with your thread base on. Peel out section of deer hair, natural deer hair. Measure it out about the length of the hook. You can stack this if you want. I usually don't, just because of the taper that it creates without stacking it. Tie this on. This is our tail. Bind it down really good, so we're all the way up to from the barb of the hook all the way up to the top of the hair and back. You got to get it perfect, because it's just going to get covered anyways. We're going to take some flex cement and I use a toothpick. Use whatever you feel comfortable with, and coat that flared section of deer hair pretty heavy with the flex cement. Make sure you get it all in there pretty good. Kind of pinch it back. Once you get it in there, you got it coated pretty well. Take a piece of thread and tie just a real simple overhand knot. Leaving the loop open. And you take the loop, just go right over the deer hair, so you got it right at a nice point. Now, for time purposes, I'm going to go ahead and whip finish this one off and set it aside to dry. You can leave it in there and let it dry on the vise if you're only going to tie a couple up, or if you're tying production on these, which is what I usually do, tie a dozen or so at a time. I do up a bunch of the tails like that and just let them dry, and then when I come back, then I can do the rest of it, in steps. Remove the thread that we put on there. Start your thread again, bringing it right back to the barb of the hook. Now, on this one, we're going to use orange and natural deer hair. We're going to want orange on the bottom, so I'm going to take orange deer hair. Well, you don't have to stack this either, because it's just going to be trimmed off. So just take the orange hair clump, about 1/8 of an inch. Peel out some of the fuzzies. So you can brush them all out if you would like. You don't really have to on something this small. Take 2 real loose turns around it. And after the second one, you let go with your fingers. Tighten down and let it spin around the hook, stopping it to where it can't come up on the top of the hook. couple more wraps around it, right in its tie-in spot. And we'll get another clump about the same size as what we had, and natural. Take that, and same thing. Trim off the tip, and lay that right in on top, and tie it in right where we tied that one in. And fold it back, get a couple little wraps around it, wrap right in front of it. Now, you can add a half hitch here, or even heard of people using whip finishes. It's not necessary. A couple extra wraps, you're fine. Back to your orange hair, or whatever color you choose. You don't have to use orange, but your contrasting hair that you started with, same thing. 2 wraps, loose. Feel it around on the 3rd wrap. Shit. When that happens, it can be a pain in the butt. But we're just going to make it work anyways. If this happens to you, which I'm sure it will, what you do is just peel off that last clump. Leave the thread hanging right out. Go ahead and restart your thread, catching that piece of thread. Just crank it right in. That way you bound it right in together. Nice and bound in. Turn it off. There, taught you a little trick. We'll go ahead and get a clump of orange again. Trim off the tip. Two wraps, spin it around, stop right on top. Back to the natural. Trim off the tip.